Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the December edition of AI Horizons. So we are excited that you can join us this month. We have a few announcements, and then we have a fantastic guest joining us today, which I will introduce here in a moment. But first, I just want to go over a few quick announcements. So the first two come from TLT from us. So this is just a reminder to complete the AI Horizons community survey. And I'm going to drop that link in the chat. So far, we have 68 fantastic responses. So we would appreciate if you could fill this out, share it with your colleagues, whoever would be interested. We are looking to engage the Penn State community thoughtfully, intentionally around AI and what that means for 2025 and beyond. So if you have any ideas of where you want to see AI Horizons go, let us know in that survey. It takes less than 10 minutes, probably only 5 minutes. So take a minute, fill that out, send it to some colleagues, um, and get that going. The second announcement is our virtual ugly holiday sweater contest. So I'm rocking a squirrel right now. But I also dropped that link in the chat. So this is all done through Adobe Express. And here's our Padlet wall. You can see we have a lot of fantastic submissions already. So all the instructions are pinned right here on this blue post. Um, so if you have any questions, just feel free to drop it in AI Horizons, reach out to me directly. But all the instructions are there. Let me know if you run into any issues. And make sure when you post your sweater that you go back and vote on all the other sweaters. You can just click on here and get a star ranking as well. Okay. So the third announcement we have is our folks in the Commonwealth campuses, they created a new AI Toolkit resource. Oops, there we go. I went the wrong way in my slide deck. Okay, so this is preparing for teaching in the age of AI. And I have a couple links here to drop in the chat for you. So there's a blog post about this resource and then the website where it can be found and then a direct link to that resource. So if you have any questions, read the blog post, get in there and explore the other AI resources that this fantastic group has presented. So we have some great folks creating some fantastic resources for us. And the last announcement we have is coming from Elizabeth Park, and she will be sharing about the Spring Semester AI Prompt Challenge. So, Elizabeth, do you want to take it away?
Sure. So this is just an invitation to join us for the AI Prompt Challenge. We did it in the summer and also this fall, and it was really successful. So we're going to do it again in the spring. So if you have not done it, please feel free to join us. I will drop a registration link. Quite simply, it's just an invitation once a week to play in Copilot. So you would try out different prompts that we'll email you that are related to course design and all the things we do as faculty and instructional designers. And then you have the chance to earn a digital badge. There's also an informal sort of community of practice in teams where you can talk with your fellow cohort who are doing this challenge. And that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks, Elizabeth. Okay, so that is all of the announcements we have for you. And now we're going to introduce our guest speaker today. She is coming from LinkedIn Learning. She is our Principal Customer Success Manager, and she is Sarah Viner. So today she will be talking about how we can leverage LinkedIn Learning to upskill around AI topics, and which platform features are being advanced using AI. So without further ado, Sarah, it is all you now.
Thank you so much, Zach. It's such a pleasure to be here with you all. Thank you for letting me crash your party, and I'm very envious of your squirrel sweater. I definitely need one of those. Maybe this is the year I finally invest in my ugly sweater. You inspired me. Another inspiring thing, segue, is AI. And we have been really focused on AI at LinkedIn for a long time now, maybe longer than we've been talking about it. If you're not aware, we are a Microsoft company. So Microsoft acquired LinkedIn back in 2016. And at that stage, we were really scrappy still. LinkedIn Learning was a new feature. I bet lots of you remember lynda.com. That was the program that essentially turned into LinkedIn Learning. I see some nods. And that amazing best-in-class content has just continued to grow with all of these incredible features that we now have access to through LinkedIn Learning and through LinkedIn as a community. So we're basically bringing all of those pieces together, and it's kind of in a place where I am just really excited about it, and I'm excited to share with you all. I have a pen. I will be taking down all of your questions. I have a feeling you'll ask lots of questions that I don't know the answers to. And I'm excited to share those back with our product team too, because one of my favorite parts of my role is that I also get to sit on a cross-functional team with our product partners, so product marketing managers and product managers in different sort of pods that help us really share our voice of customer with them directly, answer questions, give them feedback as those things are happening, which is not something that big companies like LinkedIn usually can make time for, but it's something that I feel really passionate about. So I have in the past shared lots of amazing feedback from my partners at Penn State that I've worked with for close to 5 years now. And it's always been really helpful and valuable for them to hear too. So don't be shy. Well, that is to say, please speak up and share your thoughts and feedback. I'm excited to hear them. My background is in education, so I'm going to start a little bit pedagogically and kick it off with something that looks really very familiar to Bloom's taxonomy, but this is something that we created at LinkedIn based on a lot of other folks are doing sort of similar work around the leveling around AI. Can you see that screen? Great, amazing, thank you. I've suddenly got a child's calendar on my screen for some reason, but I think this one's the right one. The general focus here is that obviously as we gain skills, especially around AI topics, we'll see things growing in various ways as we gain confidence and an understanding of these topics, and as those topics actually become more available. In this case with AI, often we're kind of building the plane as we're flying it. Some of this is changing really very rapidly. And part of the reason that AI topics are of such an interest to so many of the universities that I work with, which are all the biggest universities across the Northeast and Florida, is because folks are starting to gain a lot of interest in it, and they are starting to realize that their skill sets are going to be shifting and changing dramatically over the next 5 to 10 years, and sooner as well. So no matter where you are, we have a lot of content based on these sorts of areas. So at a basic level, LinkedIn Learning is a fantastic repository for expertise. At that base level, the general understanding, we've rolled out some fantastic content like understanding generative AI, what is generative AI, thinking through AI and ethics together, making sure that you're able to think about how that will change bias in AI. There are lots of interesting topics going on there. I'll be sharing a content mapping with you also, a link to one that has the actual course links to all of this. And this, at this level, often for students, faculty, staff, this is things like responsible AI, general fluency, understanding generative AI, and just an awareness of what it is. One thing I'd love to point out is that we have created some professional certificates around artificial intelligence learning. I think 9 of them, 6 or 9 of them, I'll have to fact check that one, in partnership with Microsoft. So knowing that they are developing a lot of new content, we've been keeping really on the front edge of all of that content and making sure that we're developing experiences, not just the actual information, but developing these full experiences of things like professional certificates, which are intended to be that sequential learning experience, moving through all of the content to gain a really clear understanding, a thorough understanding. So if we were starting to move up, these 2 levels are really where most of the universities I work with are staying at this point. I'm sure it will start shifting up. But at that level 2, we're starting to think about how we can use the content in classes. So faculty thinking through, how do I start supplementing my courses with this? My students are going to be using AI anyway. How do I try and keep a handle on that and make sure I'm really being clear with my expectations and my what I feel comfortable with using? And then especially for things like training and job tasks, I know we have dramatically shifted the way that we have started to do things like using recorders within our meetings to help us take notes. such a great way to just really simplify the process and be able to stay present. I've noticed a huge difference there. But that spans the gamut all the way across to folks who might be doing rote tasks day to day that they'd love to outsource and have AI do. This could be training for different folks on how they might be doing that. So this kind of sharing of best practices. Zach told me lots about this amazing community, and it sounds like as this group is starting to learn more, there's a lot of dissemination of that information with the rest of PSU as well. So certainly that would be one of those pieces here as well, that kind of train the trainer, if you will. And then moving all the way up to level 5, we have content around all of these. So if you're interested in things like starting to actually build AI-powered applications, whether that's things like instructor design chatbots, whether students are leading projects, there are some really great L&D resources being created on this. Any of those, we have lots of different content around that, and then moving all the way up for things like engineers and tech specialists and R&D roles. So I skim those top 3 because most folks I work with aren't quite there yet. Full transparency, I'm definitely not. So these are just some of the ways that you might start thinking about using this content. I'll flip over onto this screen, which will show you just a few of the job titles, and I will drop all of these links into our chat as well. So let me put this here while we're here. One of my colleagues has been working in the AI space for a long time, the amazing Joe Moore. And he actually, along with one of your fantastic colleagues or previous colleagues, Lindsay Corrali, who used to be at Penn State and connected us, they have developed some really great content together as well. So this is one of those pieces. Overall, what we did was just outlined this upskilling framework, and we've put different content that we've developed into these different categories. It's really, what you see is what you get on this front. But I do want to point out that if you scroll down to the second page, you'll see that we do outline specific content for strategy or strategy content for leaders and managers. And that goes through the gamut. So if you're thinking about, how do I manage my employees? If you have reports and you're trying to understand, how do I help my employees learn more about AI and get comfortable with it and start using it in various ways without forcing it on them, or what's the right tone to take? Lots of really great content there. And then lastly, you'll see that within these different frameworks, you'll also find professional certificates. So this is one that I was mentioning, the Career Essentials in Generative AI by Microsoft and LinkedIn. I imagine for this community, that one might be a little bit basic at this stage. But if you've just joined this community or you are just starting your journey in learning more about it, certainly worthwhile taking a look at. Some of our most amazing subject matter experts live there. So that's one side of our content. And I do want to show you what that looks like within LinkedIn Learning as well. So if you're looking to find any of this content, super straightforward to just use the search bar. You can just type in AI. And one thing to note is that we're actually already using AI to help generate search results that are more applicable to you. So yes, the general search results, like it would do, it's kind of the same thing that's happening in Google, how sometimes if you type in a question that is worthy of an AI response, it will generate that AI response for you. Or if it's just a straight search for something very simple, we'll also just pull these results. So the results are always filtered by best match. And that entails the most popular courses, the newest courses, and then courses that you haven't watched necessarily. That is not specific to what you think is popular. So we can tell you more on this top level here based on all the information that you give us. So this is a machine learning space, also generative AI. And so based on this, when you start typing in courses, we'll be able to say, okay, we know you are this title because you told us, you set your career goal and you told us that was your title, or you've connected your LinkedIn profile and therefore we know that this is your title. And these are the courses that you've taken in the past. And these are the skills that you've expressed an interest in learning. And based on all that information, we'll start customizing the search experience and give a really more personalized suggestion to you on whatever topic you've started to search. So all the AI content will live in this space. You'll also notice that on the bottom left-hand side, we have this spotlight area called artificial intelligence. We change these every now and then, but I really don't foresee that one going away. I think this one's going to live here for a while yet. But this is a great place to check out if you're ever thinking, well, what's the newest content? What's been featured more recently? we'll break it out into things like going deeper with a learning path. So if I click into one of these learning paths, you'll see that there are several courses inside of a learning path rather than just individual LinkedIn courses. And then you'll also notice when I go back to that AI tool, if you want to just have a quick peek at something, you don't necessarily want to go into a course and look at like 7 hours of content today. You're just trying to get a quick understanding of all of the content that we have. You can use this AI tool right underneath the course results to ask it to summarize the key learnings from a course. Now, if anyone is already using LinkedIn Learning well or broadly, you might be frustrated when you're searching for courses for other people. So if you're ever searching for like your reports or your colleagues and you're trying to find courses that you can then share with them, instead of having to click into each of those courses to have a quick look and make sure that, you know, the authorial tone is good, you can use the summarized key learnings, and that's not going to drop it into your in-progress courses. So that's a kind of side handy piece of this. But you should find that this makes it extremely easy to find the content that is the most suitable for what you're looking for without necessarily having to dive into the course itself, look at all the individual videos and go deeper on that front. So those are the sort of general, the quick spin around the platform to show you where everything actually lives content-wise. I'd love to pivot into a couple of our more interesting AI features following this, but I would love to pause for any questions about the courses first. All right. And I should have dropped in your activation link right at the top of the hour. I don't have it handy here, but if anyone has any trouble accessing LinkedIn Learning, let me know. I have a specific link that I can share with you. Okay, so the first thing I'd love to show you is something that's not launched yet. That's always fun, a bit of a tease. This is our role play feature, and role play is at a 50% ramp right now. So at the moment, 50% of our companies have access to role play. So it actually could be in your account. If you've checked it out, definitely worth having a look. But what you'll see is that within the role play features, you have this amazing opportunity to dive in and have that conversation. So just as you would imagine, instead of going in to say, you know, show me a course and I'm going to listen to the course and do my, you know, exercise files or take notes, instead you have the opportunity to pull from all of our content on our library in a live scenario. And a couple of different ways to do this. Right now, we've split these out into 3 sections. We've got delivering a performance review, giving feedback to a colleague, and promoting a work-life balance. If you're interested in something like presentation skills, I could start that role play. And it's bringing in specific information that it knows about me. So I put in my role, and I think my role is accurate on this demo account here. I use a lot of demo accounts and I pretend I'm all sorts of different titles on here, obviously. But the idea is that we are going to go through this scenario where someone else is struggling to prepare for a presentation. I'm working on my coaching skills where I'm giving them feedback to help them improve those skills. Our little bot called Sam is here, so I'll choose start. And by default, this comes out with...
Hi, Sarah. I appreciate you taking the
version.
time to help me with my presentation.
So what I'm going to do is switch it over to text so that we can do this a little bit more easily. But it's definitely worth using the speech mechanism. It feels so weird the first time, and then you start getting into it and you're like, well, it's like I'm having a conversation with a real person. So I'm going to start off by giving some feedback here, and I'll say, of course, how did you think it went? And this will start funneling through a conversation where I can really hone in what I want to say to someone. So a lot of these specific role plays are great for any kind of coaching and managing experiences. I highly recommend taking these if you're thinking about the folks that you do manage now, or if you're interested in starting to learn more about the opportunity to manage. Maybe you're an individual contributor right now and you're starting to try and grow into that space. These are really excellent ways to work. I want to say that I think there are like maybe a 20 time limit on I just saw this statistic yesterday and instantly forgot it. But you can keep taking these role plays as much as you want each day. I think every day it's a maximum of 20 times, but you can come in as much as you want. And yeah, it's a fantastic tool. I highly recommend it. I think I saw, I'm not sure if it's a question or a comment coming in the chat here. Oh, yeah. And if you do go into the platform, if you've logged in, you can definitely have a look and see whether you see it on your screen. It's definitely worth having a look too. I will drop our... I had a helpful link here, but just bit. I will find the help link on this as well, so you can see if you have any questions about the tool and how that works. So that's one of our newer features. On the home page, another great new feature is that instead of just searching in that search bar like I showed you earlier, right up here, you also have the option to actually find the content that you're looking to use using our AI search. So especially helpful because once you start interacting with this platform more, and you put in things like what your current goal is, what your current title is, if there's an area of interest that you have, something you want to learn more about, all of this is fed into our system and it starts creating more specific content for you. Oh, amazing. Thank you for checking, Elizabeth. It's already in LinkedIn Learning for you guys. Yay, you're one of the first 50%. Yes, it lives under the AI coaching space, exactly. So once I go into this space around what do I want to learn, I might start with something like I want to learn more about using AI in my role. So overall, it's going to scan the whole LinkedIn Learning library. It will bring in all of the content that is specific, but it's also going to find a course that is specifically suggested for me. Sometimes that's one course, sometimes that's 3 courses, but all of that took into account my role, my goals, and the skills that I already have. So this should be a much faster way to get to content that you're interested in. Of course, you can always use these filters and look for individual courses or whole learning paths. You can look for a specific time of the course that you need to complete it within. You can search for different levels. If there isn't a specific level that you're interested in, just leave that blank, but maybe you're just kicking off your journey here and you want to search for beginner rather. One other thing to share with this group, in case anyone is interested in starting to use practice files, under the all filters, we do have a fantastic hands-on practice filter, and that's going to pull out all of the different courses that have access to our GitHub code spaces and our code challenges within the platform. So if you're already using GitHub elsewhere, this is just an extra 60 hours a month that you can use on GitHub that's connected to our LinkedIn Learning subscription. And it's a really fantastic way to work on coding and all sorts of different content that might be useful for you. And yes, great question, Adrian. Your students do all have eligible LinkedIn Learning accounts. So every single student, faculty, and staff across the entire institution has access to LinkedIn Learning. They can choose to connect their LinkedIn account if they have one or not. And if they start, maybe they activate their LinkedIn Learning account and they haven't created a LinkedIn account yet, they can always go back and connect it later once they do create it. Yes, and great question, Joseph. Do not pay for this. So this is a free tool that everyone has access to because it's a subscription at the university level. I'm going to grab the Penn State page for this. My key tip is to just Google Penn State LinkedIn Learning and it always will get you right there. So in our chat, this is the amazing help page that the awesome TLT team created, I believe, way back when. And there's a big login button right at the top of that screen. That's going to send you through your automatic single sign-on. And so if you do want to go through single, so it won't work for me because I'm not Penn State, but if you do go through single sign-on, it will drop you directly into the Penn State account and you won't hit any firewalls around that. Same thing goes for students. So if you are ever taking one of these courses and putting it into a course that you teach, maybe there's a LinkedIn Learning course that you want your students to do, you grab that link and you put it into your course. As long as you're taking the link from the top of the page, the URL, or in the course itself, oops, go back into something. In a course itself, if you choose the share arrow, as I call it, the share arrow, and you link it directly from here, it should say SSO link. That will be another forced single sign-on link. So anyone that's going into that course is going to get sent directly through the Penn State single sign-on rather than going over and getting a paywall somewhere else by mistake. It's a great question. Thanks for bringing that up. All right. Okay, see some great chat. Keep it coming in there. Oh, amazing. Thanks, Lindsay. Okay, so fantastic. Good work, Joseph. Getting there. All these different steps along the way to set it up. You won't have to do it again and make it much easier. Worth noting, though, you do have to log into both LinkedIn and LinkedIn Learning every time you log in. So if you have an active session going on your computer, no problem. But you do need to make sure that you're logging in both places. That's because we actually keep those two instances completely distinct on purpose. We don't want your LinkedIn information being shared with your LinkedIn Learning admins at your institution, obviously. So we keep those two spaces distinct. And so you will always see that double login. We call it double authentication. And if you have students coming to you saying, I'm just going in a login loop, 99% of the time, that is what's happening. And for folks who have to jump at 10, thanks for coming. So next up, certainly worth pointing out, one of my favorite tools. This is the space that I actually sit with our product team on, the career journey. So if you click into that My Career Journey on the top left, you'll see that you have this maybe already set up or maybe yet to set up career goal. So if I click into this little pencil icon for my career goal, right now it's going to say, okay, you have a current goal. Do you want to change that? I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to do a different career. And maybe the next thing I want to do is go into product management. So I'll go ahead and choose that. I'll say I want to become a product manager. And that's going to start setting up my whole learning journey. So along the way, I'm thinking about what skills I currently have, what skills are growing, are popular, and are highly in demand in the field that I'm interested in going into. And I'm going to try and close those skill gaps with LinkedIn Learning content, or maybe some Penn State courses in between. So great, that looks amazing. Interesting product lifecycle management, communication, agile. Great, let's get started with that plan. And this will start developing my personalized plan for me. So now I've changed my career goal. You'll see at the top, I've now become a product manager, and I've got all these courses that are dropping in here. Now, this is a lot of content. So you'll see even just in this one section, this understanding product lifecycle, that's just one of the skills that's helpful for this career. And I've already got these, sort of 3-ish hours of content here. That's one of the skills that I've got. So I can add more modules. I can delete some of these modules if this is too much. But this is really intended to be a customized space for you to consolidate all your learning, and specifically where you're trying to focus on your career development. All of it will stay right in here. And for those of you who do work with students, you can imagine how amazing this is for students. So you will probably have a good grasp of what you're trying to do in your lives and where you want to go next. Or maybe you don't. I don't. There are plenty of times that you have existential, questions and what am I doing? So maybe you want to do a little bit more research. You want to dig into a new career and think about what that could look like. So come into this platform, start looking through some of the other roles. And then another fantastic way you can do that is with this under the content tab with these role guides that we have. So again, an especially useful space for students. Within all of our role guides, these are going to highlight specific skills that we as LinkedIn, with 1 billion members worth of data, know are important skill sets for this specific title. So if I click into something like social media manager, these are all skills that both at LinkedIn, so the little branded ones, these are what I know is important for a social media manager at LinkedIn. And then there's other skills that are important from, this is all a bit meta, but from LinkedIn as the organization with our economic graph data as well. And I can, of course, manage these skills. So if I want to start thinking about some of these skills more, because I think it's going to really help me in the long run with my career, I can dig into some of them and take a look at them. And if maybe a course or two in, I think, actually, this is not all I thought it was, and I don't think this is particularly well suited for me, you can drop back into that content tab and look at all the other role guides to start just dipping a toe and understanding more about what these different roles might entail. So a great way for students to research, really interesting way for folks who are maybe considering career transitions also to research. Okay, so just popping back over to the career journey, just worth mentioning, you can always change this. So I change this all the time because I'm always pretending for presentations like this. But let's say you're working towards a career goal and you start thinking there's a more interesting area that I might want to pivot into. Maybe I'm going to start looking at this new field that's coming out. You can come in here, change your career goal, and then all of your learning will change. So you'll have new recommendations as you go along. All right. Any questions about the career journey? Any of these pieces I just talked through? One question that comes up on this sort of presentation regularly to me is who sees this career goal? So this can be quite vulnerable when you put in a career goal, because maybe if you think your manager has access to it, they could see that your career goal is something that's like not in their team at all. But it is anonymous. So from the admin side, we have the ability to show who is setting a career goal. So if you've got one, yes or no, but it won't say what the career goal actually is. And then we also aggregate the data as well to show whether people are more interested in growing in their current role or advancing to a different role. Or we also bracket things like when people are interested in managing teams. That can be one of the big goals. So you could set up your career goal as that. It doesn't have to be an actual title. You could set your career goal as becoming a manager in anything, and general managerial skills will start showing up. Leadership. All right. So 2 more AI features to show you, and then I promise I will stop talking and open it up for general questions or to let you dabble. Let's drop into one of these courses, so maybe communication for managers. And on the right-hand side, this is our course companion AI tool. So in the same way that when you searched for content at the top of the page, all of the content showed up on that drop down, and it had those like key takeaways and summarize this for me, and is this course a good fit for me? The same thing shows up here on the right-hand side of the video with more in-depth information. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So this is one of my favorite tools. Is this course a good fit for me? Is one of the prompts that we recommend. And what it does here is it pulls in my current role and what I already know and the skills that I've said on LinkedIn that I have. And then it also thinks about my goal. So it says, considering your goal to pivot to a product manager, here's why these things are useful. So communication skills, that's super important for product managers. The basics like general product management or real life scenarios, these are all super important. So given your background and career aspirations, this course should provide valuable insights. And if you ever click into a course and you ask, is this a course a good fit for me? And it says, probably not, but you really want to do that course. Firstly, you can always just do any course, obviously, everything is available. But you might want to go back and pivot on your career goal so that you're expressing a more accurate interest in what you might want to be learning. Okay. And last but not least, this little AI coaching tool on the left-hand side, whenever you see that star, that's where that lives. So the role play that I started out with, that's a great way to use the role play tool. This AI coaching tool is a great way to also pull content from the courses itself. So if you're ever interested in just getting some quick information through this sort of more conversational method, this is a fantastic way of doing it. Maybe I'm thinking about time management. And so I say, what are the time management best practices? What the AI-powered coach here is doing is pulling from our entire library of 65,000 videos, and it's pulling in the most relevant and helpful information for me based on all these same tenets that I've talked through, and drilling down into specific takeaways. So specifically in this course, which I might want to go and then watch afterwards, there are some strategies to manage time and effectively at work and home. So I might get a quick suggestion or two, or I might want more information about it. So I can say, tell me more. I can say, how do I think about improving my time management with my aspirations? I might ask a more specific question that drills into the library more specifically. And we're growing this tool now. So it's the AI coach pulls from about half of our library right now, which is a lot of content, as you can imagine. But you will just see this get more and more knowledgeable based on a whole library as we're able to feed it all in. Okay, I'm going to take a pause. I think I pointed out all the important things I needed to here. Let's take a look at the questions that popped in, and please feel free to unmute and ask questions along the way as well.
Yeah, it looks like Crystal has a great question, and then Adrian has a question right under that. So Crystal's question was, for faculty who want to help students get disciplinary training around AI, what can you recommend as a way to build LinkedIn Learning into course experiences?
Great question. And I feel like that's a plant question, Crystal, because we also are going to be thinking about this. We do have a LinkedIn day coming up for February 11th. And we're going to be digging a lot more into this as well, and actually doing walkthroughs of using the LMS and LinkedIn Learning and doing that whole flow. But I believe this is also on your website. You have lots of great documentation about the actual step-by-step of what to do when you're dropping courses into your learning management system. As a kind of design perspective, though, in terms of like the instructional design element, the way I see this happening most often is that faculty will use LinkedIn Learning as a assignment, and they'll ask students to do that assignment. It's purely just for completion, so they are watching the content, and then faculty can follow that up by developing any kind of assessment on that assignment itself. So I would say for things like AI, the assessment could be using AI to do something, you know, suggesting a prompt of some kind and then doing a screenshot and having that be the assessment turn in, for example. But there are so many different courses that can be useful as more just a supplement or a reinforcement of what is already going on in courses. So you always have the option to just grab any of these LinkedIn Learning links and drop them into a course, whether that's within the course resources, maybe some of it's for extra credit. Maybe these are actually part of your course modules and will inform the course completion. But it's really, you know, it's subjective depending on how the faculty likes to run their course. But let me grab the link as well, because that is a great question to make sure people know what that actually looks like when you're trying to drop the courses into your LMSs as well. Thank you, Crystal. And I think I will find this one for you afterwards because I know it's in here somewhere on your amazing knowledge base. Oh, here we go. Embedding a video into Canvas. Okay. All right. Yes. Love that, Joseph. Hang on, let me go back to Adrian's question because that was first, and then I'll come back to that, Joseph. A resource that helps students identify what sorts of career goals might be applicable in their field. Yes, we also have, let's see if I can pull this up. Another great tool, and this actually isn't on LinkedIn Learning, this is just a LinkedIn tool. But if you're trying to figure out what kinds of careers might be well aligned with the skill sets that you're developing, this is a fantastic way to do it. It's a really beautiful website too. So you can drop into this page, and if I go ahead and scroll, it's going to start bringing out specific skills in different fields that then will help me understand what sorts of jobs there might be. So it's hard to know, you know, I think when you're in college, you know, sort of a handful of job titles based on your network and who you've met and general interaction with the real world. But of course, there are tons of spaces and industries that you will have no idea about until you get into it. So this is a great way to just start thinking about what some different options are in different fields. And as I scroll, you can skip this whole thing as well. You don't have to do this lovely scrolling that I'm doing. But if I scroll through these, it's basically explaining what different skills might be similar or differing in different roles. And then when I get all the way down to the end of this beautiful experience, a lot of moving squares, then I can start thinking about transitioning jobs. So I can put in a job that I already have, or I can start thinking about the skills there. I can also use a specific city. So if you know that folks are trying to move to Philly or New York, or they're trying to stay in state college, they might use the city to help them figure that out. And then based on where they're looking to go, you'll see this overlap. So specific matches based on a job that you might currently have or that you're currently interested in, and it'll start making some recommendations of things that could also be a good fit. So yeah, I've heard of product managers, and I think that might be interesting, but I'm sure that there are other roles in that field that could be interesting as well. It's a great way to figure that out. Great question. Thank you, Adrian. And then I guess the tie into LinkedIn Learning there as well would be, if I see that these are the skills that I now need to build, because those are the ones I don't currently have in my role, that's where I would then go into LinkedIn Learning and search specifically for those skills. But I will say a lot of that is now kind of automated within this AI-powered coaching. So I could actually ask here, what skills do I need for blank job, or what jobs that are similar to blank need these sorts of skills. And the coach will start pulling in different information from our library there as well.
I was just about to ask Sarah if the AI coaching could also do that as well, because it reminds me of like an AI chatbot.
Yeah.
So the GitHub link you shared is a great resource as well, but I wonder how far we could push this AI coaching role-playing chatbot into asking those questions and having it tell us what we need to focus on. I'm glad you brought that up. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I know we inform this page here, this AI coaching page, the AI powered coaching. I know we inform it with our LinkedIn Talent Insights. So LTI, you probably have heard around before. And there is a lot of information that is fed directly into that chatbot. So that would be all of the most unique, fastest growing, most in demand skills for all different titles across all different industries in global economic markets. And so that is an element of the way that you would interact with the AI powered coaching. I like the ability to really hone in on a specific role and the skill sets there, and then see roles that are similar and have that jump. And that's not something that would show up in this kind of conversational flow, but I bet you could, continue to prompt it to basically give you that same information. Yeah, mess around with it and tell me what happens. Okay. Joseph asked if there was a tutorial to use LinkedIn Learning that I can share with students. Yes, we have a lot of them. We also have live trainings. So if you ever want to come to any of our webinars, I'll grab that link for you here as well. There are going to be a lot of links in today's session. Hopefully we can grab them all in one spot after this. But we do webinars on our platform every day. So both LinkedIn content, so things like how do you create a good LinkedIn profile, and that's something that I often work with PSU to do. That will be part of the content that we deliver on February 11th as well. There will be a student section and a staff section. So honing your LinkedIn profile, big element. We do live webinars for that daily in all different time zones. And then the other courses around how do I use LinkedIn Learning? There are lots of great courses on that. Less videos, more like real experiences to walk through. As far as the AI coaching, we just released a new video on this. I haven't even watched it yet because it's brand new. Let me see. Of course, I'm not sure how I will find it right away. So I will have to grab that for us after the fact. Oh, wait, here we go. Did find it. Let's see if it loads for us. Found it in my Teams, so that's not very useful. I'll try and figure out how I can share this actual. There we go. My job's in here. All right, so this video should have, I'm told, it has a lot of content in here like the AI coach and role
Empowering
guides.
you to
So a lot of the features that are newer should be in that video. So please, yeah, take a look, Joseph, let me know. All right, in the learn section, could you explain where the lessons come from? Are they vetted? I suppose the start. Yes. So are you thinking about the actual learning when you just type in content to do this learning? What would you like to learn today? Yeah. So this is going to be content that specifically comes from our overall library and aligns specifically with what you've set up as your career goals. So I set up that I wanted to be a product manager. And so if I say, how can I manage people better? it's going to bring in all of the content that is going to be the most useful for me based on that role. Now, the general filter underneath this is just your best match. So all of the research results that show up underneath the AI-powered overview, these are just going to be like general. What's the most popular? So we ask for star ratings at the end of courses, which courses are the newest, and then which would be a best match for whatever you typed in, like keyword-wise. But this would be a much more personalized feedback. So I recommend taking a look at these courses first, and then if none of those resonate, then moving on to that general results list. All right, did I miss any questions back here? Yeah, of course, Jessie, thanks for the question. Oh.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah, so much for this fantastic presentation.
Adrian in here about experimenting with developing an application of AI coaching to serve like an oral exam. I have not heard that yet, but I love that idea.
Oh.
The only thing to mention is that the reporting is a little limited on AI at this stage. Excuse me, I'm fighting off so many germs today. So as far as the AI coaching tool, the back and forth, that like role play piece, could be an amazing way to gain a skill and show off how that went. You can save the transcript when you're done with it, but there's not any reporting to be able to say, like, did my student do this and how long did they spend doing it? So as far as assessment, that would be something that you would decide on what you were most comfortable with. But that would be, yeah, I love that idea. That would be really cool. Okay. Yes, so the role play, I will drop the link in. The role play shows up in different places on every platform that I've seen it on. I am not sure why. So let me grab the link for you and I'll drop it right in here as well. And this is the link that I said I would share earlier. Oh, you know what, because it's only at 50% ramp, this is a private article. So we don't have a article on roleplay yet on our knowledge base. Our knowledge base is usually extremely robust. So I'll drop that in here now. But as soon as it is fully ramped, you'll see the help article on there. We try not to confuse people by putting content on there that's not fully ramped. All right. I think that is, oh, one more. No, there's not. Great question, Alini. No options for changing what is seen and what is not seen at this stage.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for a fantastic presentation. I'm a heavy LinkedIn user myself, and I learned a lot, so thank you for this. So if there are any other questions, please feel free to drop them in chats, or as Sarah mentioned, there will be a LinkedIn Learning Day coming up in the spring semester, so she will be back with more content, so stay tuned. TLT will be dropping some more information to that coming up in the new year. So please come to that. Again, a couple reminders. Make sure you complete the AI community survey if you haven't done so, and participate in the Ugly Sweater contest, which will be going until the end of this week. So if there are, it looks like David has one more question. Is there a way to tell LinkedIn Learning to not train on my interactions and data?
If you don't have your LinkedIn account connected, that data won't come over. So if you don't want any of your LinkedIn data used within LinkedIn Learning, just keep those two profiles disconnected. Totally fine. As far as your interactions on the platform, we will continue to try and customize it to be as specific and personalized as possible. And the main reason for that is that the main piece of feedback we get when people start using LinkedIn Learning is that it's overwhelming. They basically say there's too much content on here. I don't know where to start. I don't have 75 hours to add to my weekly routine. of doing all this content. And so really everything that we're driving towards on the platform is trying to make the experience more customized and specific to your needs. So there's not really a sort of turn off function for that, but you definitely can disconnect your profile.
Awesome. And I have been curating and collecting all the links Sarah has shared, so I will share those out in AI Horizons and also in our document within AI Horizons with the recording as well. So thank you, everybody. We do not have anything planned for January yet, but dates will be coming out soon with who is presenting. But that is all for the December session. And remember to keep the conversation going in AI Horizons if you have any questions. Continue learning, continue exploring. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, everyone.